Welcome everyone to week 2 of the Sprout Quilt Challenge 2025. In this week's challenge, we have 2 blocks for you to do. One is a log cabin block, which I designed, and a bear paw block that was designed by Adelle of Bear Paw Quilting. So I will be going through and demonstrating how to put together these blocks. And before we do that, I want to thank our wonderful sponsors for this week. So those that are participating will put you into a drawing, and you have a chance to win some prizes from Birdie and Dot, which is an online fabric store. They have a wonderful selection of modern fabrics that any quilter would love. So be sure to check them out. And I will put a link in the description below. And the other sponsor is Sew Tights. I don't know if you've seen these wonderful magnetic options for quilters, but they're great for people who do English paper piecing. They have a wonderful cutting system with magnets and a magnetic mat for you to use. It's amazing what they have done with this product. So if you haven't seen it, I'm going to put the link below. Be sure to check them out. So let's get sewing. The fabric cutting for this bear paw block is pretty straightforward. I use the antique gold for the main portion of the paw and the navy for what I'm calling the toes of the paw and the off-white background. And of course, you'll notice that in all the blocks that I do for this challenge, there will be a spot of red in each one. And I will reveal that in one of the Zoom sessions that we're planning on having this week for the week 2 challenge, what the red is all about. To create the half square triangles, which are what I'm calling the toes of the paw, you're going to place one off-white fabric on top of a navy fabric, and you're going to stitch 1/4 inch from the raw edge on all 4 corners all the way around on 4 blocks. You'll make 4 of these. Once you have your navy and your background stitched together along the raw edges at 1/4 inch seam allowance, you're now going to cut this diagonally twice from corner to corner. When making your diagonal cut, if you have a 45-degree mark on your ruler, I recommend using that along one of the straight edges of your block. That will help you line up and keep your diagonal line correct. If you have a secondary mat or a mat that's rotating, this is a great option for cutting these half square triangles out on. That way you don't have to disturb the block when you go to do your second diagonal cut. So I highly recommend that if you have that available to you. You can see how this makes it so much easier to get those accurate cuts on these half square triangles. Once you have all of your half square triangles cut out, I like to just use scissors to cut off the points and then press your seams. I pressed mine to the dark side. You could also press these open, and you can see how I have them laid out here. Note the orientation of the half square triangles. This is really important, and I did have to backtrack here a little bit. So you have your instructions of how to do these, so be aware of the orientation of the diagonal of your half square triangles when you go to do these points. I did mess this up and had to backtrack. So beware, pay attention. I'm sure that you all got it right the first time. Well, I didn't, and I am not ashamed to admit that I did sew this wrong initially. Now that you have your 2 half square triangles sewn together, and the orientation is correct, you'll now add a square of the off-white background to 4 of the 2-piece half square triangles. Sew right sides together in 1/4 inch. Now that we have all of our toes assembled, it's time to attach them to our paw, the main part of our paw. Now that we have our 2 toes attached to our gold paw, it's time to do the upper side. And so this has 1 background square and 2 half square triangles. And we'll attach that in the same manner, nesting our seams using 1/4 inch seam allowance. You will do this for all 4 paws. We'll start by attaching the background fabric rectangles in off-white. Note the orientation to the paw. Now you can attach the center sashing with the red square to the left side, right sides together, half square or 1/4 inch seam allowance, and press. You'll do the second row on the left side in the same manner. When pressing your sashing, press one side to the inside and one side to the outside so that your seams will nest together nicely. Again, use 1/4 inch seam allowance, press, and you've completed this wonderful bear paw block. Thank you, Adele. Now it's time for us to do this log cabin block. You can see I have a red center like the rest of my blocks, and we're going to start out with the antique gold. You want to press towards your log, and then you'll move on to your background fabric of off-white. You'll do that in the same manner, and you'll continue as you work around this block. It goes very, very quickly, and I've numbered the logs in the pattern guide so that it's easy to follow in a counterclockwise manner around the block. You'll have this put together in no time. I had a lot of fun designing this, and I will be sharing my thoughts of the color palette that I chose, and again, why the red center of this block. I hope you'll make it to the Zoom this week, and I look forward to seeing you if you're participating in the challenge. Again, thank you so much to our sponsors this week and to everyone who's participating in the challenge constructed. It's and time Adele for creating such a wonderful our background sashing and our red square if you like this, in the center of our block. Hit subscribe. So we'll start leave a comment and like the video. Thank you so much and happy stitching.